This is the Unique Scotland podcast with exclusive ScottishVisits.co.uk.
Hello, this is John Robert Mackay-Harbour of Exclusive Scottish Visits Luxury Tours, and welcome to Unique Scotland, the go-to podcast on all things Scottish. And I'm delighted to have you with me as 2025 comes to a close and we welcome in the new year 2026. I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to all my listeners of my Unique Scotland podcast for your support and encouragement over the past year. And thank you for your feedback and good wishes as you have travelled through Scotland, either with me on tour or on your own, with the podcast narrative guiding you on your travels around this fabulous country. Thank you. I've grown up in lowland Scotland, around Edinburgh, and over the last 60 years I've watched as Christmas and New Year traditions and celebrations have changed over the decades. Certainly New Year, or Hogmanay, was more of a feature of my childhood than Christmas, which may sound a bit strange, but it was. And it's been interesting to witness how this has now changed, and although the roles of both celebrations have effectively reversed, the customs and traditions of both remain as vibrant as they ever were. So, wherever you are in the world, I would now like you to relax and to join me on this short journey reflecting upon the traditions of Scotland's Christmas and New Year. Imagine a Scotland shrouded in winter darkness. Snow drifts across cobbled streets, hearth fires crackle, and families huddle together against the cold. For most of the world, the festive season peaks on December 25th, Christmas Day. But in Scotland, the heartbeat of winter celebration was for many years Hogmanay, or New Year's Eve. And it's a festival steeped in history, mystery, and ancient ritual. No one's totally sure where the term Hogmanay comes from, but it's assumed to be from Old French or even Norse Scandinavian. The French is possibly Hogmanay, which is a gala day, or in Norse Hoganot, which is Yule, or Scandinavian winter festival. Well, wherever it comes from matters not, because the Scots have adopted it with gusto. Let's take a journey through time to understand why Hogmanay, not Christmas, has always held sway in Scotland. In 1560, Scotland transformed from a Catholic to a Protestant country, effectively the Scottish Reformation. The new Presbyterian clergy of the new Scottish Kirk, or Church, declared that Christmas was a Popish feast and frowned upon its celebration. By 1640, the Scottish Parliament had officially banned Christmas. And for centuries, Scots went about their work on December the 25th as if it were any ordinary day. Even in the 1800s, where winter was long, dark and unforgiving, Christmas passed almost unnoticed. December 25th was for many just another working day. There were no glowing trees, no wrapped gifts, no festive songs drifting through the streets. Instead, life continued as normal, shaped by faith, hard work and the cold grip of winter. It wasn't until the 20th century that Christmas in Scotland was becoming a family-focused celebration, and by the mid-1900s, children gathered around the wireless, later the television, watching programmes like the White Heather Club or festive BBC specials. Church services, modest gifts and a roast dinner became common. Meanwhile, in many Highland communities, Christmas remained quieter for longer due to strong Presbyterian traditions, and it wasn't until the mid-20th century that Christmas Day became a public holiday. And celebrations were simple, homemade food, storytelling and music often centred around the hearth rather than the television. Fast forward to the 21st century and Christmas across both Highlands and Lowlands looks far more similar. Santa Claus, once seen as quite modern, is now firmly established everywhere, thanks in part to television and global media. Families from all over Scotland will get together to enjoy a turkey lunch, then tune in to television Christmas specials, perhaps even the King's televised Christmas message. Highland celebrations often emphasise local produce, ceilidh music and community events, while lowland cities lean into big lights, markets, and theatre pantomimes for both adults and children. But when it comes to New Year, Scotland has always marched to its own beat. During those dark years when Christmas was shunned, the natural focus of winter festivities shifted, and it shifted entirely to the new year. Enter Hogmanay, a night alive with fire, song and superstition. Before the bells struck midnight, households prepared for a clean slate. Floors were swept, ashes cleared from the hearth, debts settled. The Scots called it readying the house. Only then could the new year be welcomed with a sense of purity and good fortune. As a child, I remember how exciting it was to stay up well past our bedtime, and how much we enjoyed the antics of the adults, who seemed to get louder as the morning wore on. It was a custom to come with a bottle, normally whisky, but nowadays any spirit will do, and ensured that your host could have a dram anew from your bottle as he enjoyed imbibing what the house offered him. You then left to move on to the next neighbour, taking the bottle with you. And I remember some English friends who I had invited up to spend Hogmanay with me, and they were extremely perturbed at the custom of taking a bottle into a house and leaving with the same bottle, albeit lighter by a couple of drams. Couldn't quite get their heads around that one. At midnight, the ancient ritual of first footing began. The first person to cross a home's threshold could determine the family's luck for the year. The first footers, as they were called, had to be tall and dark-haired, a tradition traced back to Scots fearing the blonde or fair-haired Viking invaders. They carried symbolic gifts: coal for warmth, bread or black bun, which is a Scottish cake full of raisins delicacy, for food, salt for flavour, a coin for prosperity, and a wee dram of whisky for cheer. In the Highlands and Islands, fire rituals took on a life of their own. Some towns still host a fireball ceremony, where giant flaming spheres are swung around the streets, purifying the world of evil spirits and igniting the night sky to celebrate a centuries-old pagan custom, celebrating the future return of the sun. One of the most iconic is the Stonehaven Fireball Festival, which takes place in the northeast of Scotland near Aberdeen. This centuries-old tradition involves approximately 40 to 60 local participants swinging flaming wire cages filled with combustible materials to ward off evil spirits and welcome a fresh year. The festival is organised by the Stonehaven Fireball Association and draws around 12,000 spectators annually, a huge number for such a small town. The event includes a pre-procession entertainment, a fireball procession and a fireworks display, culminating in a spectacular display over the harbour. And anyone's free to visit, so get along and enjoy the spectacle, the fun and the camaraderie of locals bringing in the new year. Fast forward to today, and Hogmanay has become a global celebration. Edinburgh transforms into a festival city. The torchlight procession illuminates the Royal Mile. The street party beneath Edinburgh Castle throngs with thousands, and fireworks crown the skyline. Even tourists from far and wide can feel the pulse of tradition alive in every chant, cheer and clap. And yet, despite the glitz, the soul of Hogmanay remains the same. As midnight strikes, revellers join hands to sing Robert Burns' Auld Lang Syne, arms crossing, voices rising in unison, bidding farewell to the old year and welcoming in the new. And as the clock chimes for the 12th time, beckoning in the new year, a tumultuous cheer resounds from the assembled crowd and the revelries begin. In a land shaped by winter, Hogmanay is more than a celebration. It's defiance. It's a declaration that even in the deepest, darkest winter, Scotland will welcome in the new year with fire, song and celebration. So, if you find yourself in Scotland as the year turns, dress accordingly for the cold weather, learn the words to the song Auld Lang Syne, raise a glass with a wee dram of whisky, and prepare to step back into a ritual that's captivated Scots for centuries. Because here, Hogmanay is not just a party, it's the past roaring into the present, fire defying the dark, songs echoing across the mountains and through the glens, whisky defying the cold, and hope reborn in a single, extraordinary, wonderful, unforgettable night. From quiet Highland hearths to bustling lowland thoroughfares, Scottish Christmas and New Year traditions show how history, place and popular culture combine, perhaps changing with the times, but never losing their sense of community. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this short introduction to the traditions of Scotland's Christmas and New Year. I've kept it short so that it does not encroach too much upon your time at this busy time of year. As always, I've thoroughly enjoyed bringing a part of Scotland to you, and I always welcome feedback, so if you wish to contact me, then please do get in touch through the contact page of my website, Exclusive Scottish Visits, or send an email to john@exclusivescottishvisits.co.uk. I'm also very pleased to have heard from many of you who've listened to the podcast, and it's always great to meet some of you personally. Keep your messages of support coming, and don't forget, if you do intend visiting Scotland and want the best experience with a guide, then get in touch to discuss the possibility of a tour with me in a luxury Mercedes. If you don't wish a formal guide, then perhaps one of my bespoke itineraries may help you plan a more spectacular holiday. And if you've followed any of my tour routes, then do send a photograph of you on part of that trip with your name, and I'll get it up on my social media, especially if you have to spend Christmas or Hogmanay in Scotland at any time. And please do share these Unique Scotland podcasts with friends and family. A wee shout out to Ben Laslett and his partner who have travelled around Scotland and Northumberland. Thank you, Ben, and I will be doing a podcast on the Jacobite saga in 2026, so watch the space, and my best wishes to you and your family. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you all listening today, and I would now like to wish all of you listening before the 25th of December 2025 a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If you're listening after this date, then I hope that 2026 brings you health, wealth and much happiness. I'd now like to sign off in traditional Scottish fashion by raising my glass with a wee dram to you wherever you are in the world. Slanjava.
You've been listening to the Unique Scotland podcast with exclusivescottishvisits.co.uk. To receive all our episodes automatically, please subscribe now.